Our next guest this evening, I met earlier this year. I guess it was in March at the Los Angeles premiere of Three Magic Words, and it was just great. We met. We were introduced by a mutual friend, and then in the moment of meeting, we realized we had so many other mutual friends and people we really, really love and respect. And so immediately there was just this energy of, honoring and respecting the universe having brought us together. And as I got to know her more over the following months, I was just, she's just so accomplished at what she does, and she's trained in the energy system and qigong, counseling, and anatomy, and she pulls this all together and really leverages everything that she has available to share her gifts. And so it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Patty Alfonso to our show. Patty, are you with us?
I am with you. Hello.
Well, hello there and welcome. We are so excited to have you. And even as I'm, kind of looking over your bio and everything else, it's just so impressive how you have pulled, really all of your experience together and what you're doing with it. Now, you are a body-mind counselor. You're an energy healing therapist. You're the founder, director of Harmony Healing, and you're also a speaker on personal growth through the energy system. So I guess the very first question here is, talk to us about the energy system, because everything seems to kind of revolve around that. Is that correct for you?
Yes, absolutely. First, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I also felt that energy when we first met, and I'm so grateful that you have invited me to share with you in this moment. Yes, everything for me in my work revolves around the energy system. The energy system being compromised of the energy centers, which are the chakras and the auric field. And I began my practice and my studies about 3 years ago, and when I started, it was like everything that I was hearing was a deep, deep, soulful yes, of this is what is true for me. I work with my clients with their energy system. The energy system is like a river flowing, and it holds all of our information, our passions, our, everything is in the energy system, your stress, your happiness, your joy, and it's like a river flowing. And when a pebble is dropped in that river through any kind of experience, whether it's a traumatic experience or, whatnot, then there is a disruption in that flow. And so as an energy healer, and then, through time, that disruption just creates, stagnant energy, which then doesn't allow us to flow in our everyday life. And so as an energy healer, it is my extreme passion to help people clear those kinds of energetic blocks from their system. And when I teach classes, I really bring in all of this information about what your chakras are and what it is that they do and how they can help you, and how really being aware of your energy system and what's happening in your body is really a key to making the shifts that you need to make in your life so that you can live your most passionate, inspired life. So that's just a little snippet.
I love it. I love it. Now, I just, as you're talking, this question comes to my mind, or this question, I guess, is a fine way to put it. But what about the connection? Share with us the connection to blocks in the energy system. I mean, you're also described as a body-mind counselor. So this is kind of where I'm going with this. The connection of not just what's going on the physical, but what's going on like the emotional, spiritual, and things like that. So how does that work within the energy system?
So I'm sure we are all aware that we are more than just our physical bodies. We have an energetic body, a mental body, a spiritual body, and an emotional body. So as a body-mind counselor, when you come into my office, we are going to look at all of those aspects of what's happening, of what's going on related to your presenting complaint. You can't really just see, what's happening physically. You have to look throughout the entire body. So your physical problem maybe that you're coming towards me might be related to a spiritual question, or it might be related to an emotional trauma that happened, a long time ago that you might not have awareness around. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely, and it leads me to my next question. So if someone comes into you and they're complaining, they're sharing with you about something that's less than comfortable on the physical level, and they don't know what the connection is on, say, the emotional or spiritual level, how do you then work within that? How do you connect the dots, so to speak?
Right. Well, I am trained in transpersonal spiritual counseling, that's where the energy healing therapy part comes in. We will dialogue, and I will help you, guide you to go deeper into your own psyche and what's happening to get to the root of that problem. And then what happens is once we dive deep into that, then we transition to the massage table where we can combine that with the energy work, and thus helping to release any of those blockages that you might have. Because things happen, trauma happens, and we store it in our energy system, and then we try to push it down because maybe it's too difficult to feel, or maybe, we have core beliefs wrapped around that sort of block. That's why it's important to look at the entire person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I mean, just how the process works, and to have our listeners understand, how things work, and that, it quite often, I guess, people come to you because is it mostly that they show up and there's something that has manifested physically?
Yes. Absolutely. See, the energy system, I love, one of my teachers used to always say this, the energy system is like the rings in a trunk of a tree. And so for every year of life or whatnot, you can tell what it is that happened to that tree through that specific ring. And so that's really what the energy system is. It holds like the keys to everything that has happened in our life, in our past lives, if you so choose to believe that. So when you're working with the energy system, you're starting at the source. The way dis-ease happens is that it starts in the energetic field, and then through constant stagnation, it slowly makes its way into the physical body. For example, let's say that I have a belief, a mental belief surrounding money and abundance. And maybe, I think that money makes people evil. And so that is, the mental layer of the auric field is like in the third layer of the auric field. So you have that belief, and you keep thinking that belief. And then eventually you're going to have feelings about that belief. Well, I feel like, money is evil and it's bad for you, and it makes all the bad things happen in the world. So now you have the belief, and then you have the feeling about the belief, and that is eventually going to manifest physically. You're having trouble creating abundance in your life. You're having trouble receiving. You're having trouble, getting the life that you want. So it's about getting to that core belief and working with that belief, clearing that from the energy system, helping you to shift your mental beliefs so that can eventually manifest, physically. So that's also a way that it works in terms of the energy system.
Now, do you have people, clients that show up and say, listen, I'm just feeling that somehow I'm blocking my abundance, or I'm blocking relationships, or I'm, something along those lines that doesn't have anything to do yet in their mind with anything on the physical level?
Absolutely. Well, if you're blocking relationships, say you're looking for a relationship, you are blocking that on the physical level because you're not in a relationship.
Right.
So yes, I have people who come to me and say, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So they're blocked in their passion, in their true self, in what their path is on this lifetime. And we can work, with the core beliefs and, what's happening now, what's your real passion. So there can be a lot of dialogue to dive deep into, what's going on with that. I also had someone come in who was really wanting to be in a relationship but not sure why it wasn't happening. They weren't finding the right person. There was something there. And when we did, we talked about that for a little bit, about what his wants were, his desires, what he was looking for. And when we did the healing, sometimes the healings are highly intuitive, so I just sort of heard this, there's some fear around that. And after the session, I checked in and said, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of by getting all of these things that you want? And we talked a bit about that, and I kid you not, like the next week, he had met somebody that he liked and started dating them. So
Nice.
Once you have awareness around, what might be blocking you, it's like the 3 A's: awareness, acceptance, action. So I'm aware of what's blocking me. Okay, I'm accepting that I have fear in this moment around this, and what can I do to change it?
So what kind of, in this particular example that you gave about this person, I get the awareness and then the acceptance. I get that. So what would the action have been?
Well, in this particular situation, the person was afraid of sharing everything about themselves and being vulnerable. And so we worked a little bit around feeling safe around vulnerability and around self-acceptance, so that when the person was able to share with someone else, it was already coming from a level of acceptance as opposed to a level of shame. This is my life and this is what I've been through. So that was, some work over a couple of sessions.
Beautiful.
And with the energy healing, that blockage, that energetic blockage, that fear of vulnerability, that fear of, loving myself and all of that was able to be moved so that the person could do that work. It was a really beautiful experience for both of us, a really wonderful learning experience. So.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.